Hello, Patriots. My name is Robert Patrick Lewis, and I'm coming to you again as one of the co-founding members of First Amendment Praetorian, a group of military, law enforcement, and intelligence agency veterans who provide pro bono intelligence and security services to patriotic and religious events. Normally take a couple of tries doing this and make sure I actually get everything out correctly, but there's a lot going on right now, so I'm just going to try to do this. I got a lot to put out, not a lot of time to do it in, so I'm going to try to do this in one fell swoop, so it may not be quite as refined as it normally is. Sorry for that, there's a lot going on. So house cleaning. First off, why is there a lot going on? First Amendment Praetorian has just signed on to do the Million MAGA March in Washington, D.C. this weekend. So I spent the morning on the phone with Ali Alexander, who's been working on coordinating the whole thing, as well as a lot of the Stop the Steal events that have been going around the country all week. And then we had other calls with his team leaders. I've actually got another call here very shortly as I'm recording this with some of my and his team leaders, some of our team leaders from First Amendment Praetorian and some of his. It's an interesting event. There's a lot going on. So I got a couple things to request of you, which is kind of the purpose of this video. Firstly, as First Amendment Praetorian is a completely crowdfunded organization. A lot of you have gotten to know us over the past month. This will be our 6th event in the last calendar month. We've done events in DC. This will be our 3rd in DC, Phoenix, Denver, all across the country at this point for a couple of different groups. We've done Walkaway, we've done Religious, and now we'll be doing this Million MAGA March, which means we're kind of spreading out and doing a lot of different events. So some of you have gotten to see us. A lot of law enforcement has gotten to work hand in hand with us now and started to understand exactly what we do. That's one of the big questions from both the law enforcement perspective and the event organizers, trying to find out exactly what is it that we do. Are we just a bunch of gruff-looking, busted-up, big surly guys that try to act as a deterrent? Are we going to try to be, loose cannons and try to actually step in and make the situation worse? That's not close to what we do. And thankfully, law enforcement, both federal and local in D.C., knows that because they've worked with us several times now. The thing about our group is you're not just getting a young kid who just got out of the military or maybe somebody that doesn't have any experience. With our group, you're dealing with people that from day one, they're coming in with 10, 20, 30 years of experience in either the military. We have a lot of special operations tier 1 and tier 2, a lot of military intelligence, a lot of infantry, ranger battalion, just a wide slew, SIGINT, communications guys, all across the board. And it's not just Army, Navy, Marine, Air Force, Coast Guard. And law enforcement, we got federal and local law enforcement. We've got people from every 3-letter agency you can imagine on both the law enforcement and the intelligence side. And a lot of local, sheriffs, deputies. We have a couple of retired police captains, police chiefs. So what you have to understand about our group from day one, we have all of our men and women are bringing all of that experience with them. So it's not people that are, learning this as we go. And one of the quick lessons that we learned, being from Special Forces myself, Special Forces is built on a decentralized planning format, right? Because that's kind of the goal of Special Forces. You should be able to drop an ODA of 12 people off in the middle of the jungle in whatever country that they're going to operate in and not talk to them for 6 months. And their only goal is to overthrow a dictator, right? So there's all these different things that we do. And with this kind of format that I was brought up and trained in, you don't talk to your leadership every day. There's a lot of times where you just can't, and you have to go on the flow, and you put the very best people who have been trained as well as they can be trained in charge, and trust them to lead the organization and be able to operate on the ground as things change and evolve. And so we've had a term within the group that we've been calling fluid chaos, which is kind of our sweet spot. It's our repertoire. Everything changes. Every event so far, we've gone in, we have a great plan, we have everything worked out. We brief our plan, and typically we do the area recon. We go have a look at everything beforehand. Then we have our brief, and then we show up, and everything changes. Whether it's from the event organizer side, whether it's 3 times as many people as expected show up, or what it is, everything changes. And that's kind of the benefit of having a team like ours, is that you have these people, these men and women that are walking in with all this experience already. We all have this professional background, and so when we're on the ground, we're able to move and evolve and move in fluid chaos along with the event. So for those of you who haven't interacted with us yet and you plan on attending this event, feel safe. We have a lot of people that you will see and a lot of people that you will never see. A large part of what we do, because we're not law enforcement, is not specifically there to arrest people. We're the eyes and the ears to let law enforcement know when they arrest people. We also do PSD, we do crowd control. So we specifically will guard, all the VIPs, the speakers, the people that have a high threat on them. But we also will keep crowd control. We'll have people in the crowd, around the crowd. We'll also have people that you'll never see that are keeping an eye on things. We have surveillance everywhere. So if anybody decides that they want to do something illegal, you will be caught on one of our cameras, and we will hand it over to law enforcement. And we do have a lot of law enforcement, not just contacts, but people that spent 30 years in DHS and DEA and FBI and CIA and every other organization you can think of. So we have a lot of direct handoffs with people. We do a lot of different things. For the last week, I've been focusing mainly on intelligence. A lot of our group, we have a very robust intelligence group. Some of you may have seen my last video that was talking about what we were seeing coming up, and nothing about that has changed, and that's why I think this weekend is so important. We are bringing a larger group than normal to this event. We're going to have a pretty large team, both that you will see there, some that you will not see there, and from our intelligence side. We've been aligning with other intel-specific groups around the country, groups that have a lot of experience at a very high level, that know what they're doing, and that's because we all see something coming. Again, if you saw my last video, if you didn't see it, maybe go watch it. We've been seeing a lot of intelligence come up that Antifa, that all these Marxist subversive groups were planning a Tet Offensive, the Antifa Tet Offensive. They were planning on going all out and trying to make it seem as if the U.S. was ungovernable under either President Trump or Vice President Biden if he had actually won the presidency. I want you to take keen awareness on what's going on right now. You saw D.C., we saw these other large cities where the stores boarded up all the windows because they knew what would have happened if President Trump would have won outright. We actually saw intelligence that it doesn't matter, and we've been seeing chatter still that it really doesn't matter to them, right? They're Marxists, they're anarchists. They don't really care who's in charge. They want the system down. Again, most of Antifa hate Joe Biden just as much as they hate President Trump. They hate the corporate Democrats just like conservatives hate rhinos, right? They kind of see that as the same. A lot of them are Bernie bros. Again, said this in the last video, but Project Veritas got Bernie staffers, Bernie bros, on tape saying that if Bernie didn't get the Democrat nomination, they would burn down cities. And Bernie didn't get the nomination, and they burned down cities. Wow, what a surprise there. But I want you to take a keen interest in what we see right now, right? And I want to help kind of explain some things a little bit to you. First off, if you want to support what we're doing at First Amendment Praetorian, please go to our website, 1apraetorian.com. That's one, the letter A, Praetorian, Praetorian, just like the Praetorian Guard, .com. That's 1apraetorian.com. Our Patreon and our classy crowdfunding links are right there on the homepage. Because we're going to be bringing such a large team to DC this weekend, because we're expecting such a large crowd this weekend, we really need your help. This is going to cost 2 to 3 times what our normal ops do, just because there's some additional gear that I want to get for our men and women if we can. We saw people getting stabbed in DC last weekend, so I'd like to buy some body armor if we can raise enough money for that. And of course, we have 3 times the food, flights, and vans and stuff that we'll have to rent, hotel rooms and everything else that we're going to have to get for this one to have such an expanded package, because we're expecting a huge crowd of patriots, which is a wonderful thing, and it's something else that I want to talk to you about. Back to my point. Sorry, that's just part of what I have to do to kind of keep this thing afloat, is we exist on the kindness and generosity of American patriots who understand the importance of what we're doing. Thankfully, Ali Alexander and some of the people behind this event are going to help us push out those crowdfunding links. But I need you to understand, like, none of us take a paycheck, and we exist specifically off of your donations. It's greatly appreciated. But again, back to my point, what I want you to understand, a lot of people have been confused. They can't figure out, why is the media calling the election for Joe Biden? Why is the Associated Press? Why are all these different groups calling it for Joe Biden? When, the last I saw, There are several hundred court cases already. There are thousands of signed affidavits from everything from postal workers to poll workers to observers to people that work in the polling places, and it runs the gamut. There are people across all levels that are saying they saw cheating. We have members of our team who were working on contracts for the government, helping look at the high-tech side that we knew there was election fraud that was being planned for this event, for this election. So they had the high-tech and they had the low-tech methods, and they had a lot of both. So why would the AP, why would most of the media be trying to push both Joe Biden as a president when it's clear that is not clear, it's absolutely clear that there is no definitive winner yet, that a lot of stuff has been reversed, and it's very much up in the air. Why would they be pushing so hard to declare him a winner? Why would they be pushing so hard to try to push President Trump to concede and say that the election is over long before the dust has settled? I want you to understand energy, right? That's a big part of this. Please bear with me a minute. This might seem a little hippy-dippy and metaphysical, but please understand. If you understand physics, you understand one of the basic principles that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, right? There is a finite amount of energy in the universe, and it just changes from one form to another, right? Ice in an ice cube has energy in one format. It melts, it becomes water with different type of energy. The chemicals inside of a lighter become a flame, right? Those are all chemical and energy processes, just energy transference from one state to another. So I want you to think, understanding that concept, that law of physics, I want you to think about what is going on in the minds of a lot of people right now that actually did vote for Joe Biden, maybe people that didn't vote but were hoping he would win. We've seen it. Right? And isn't it interesting that a lot of the COVID fear and restrictions and super spreader stuff went away when we saw these people taken to the streets the morning after the election, or the morning that Joe Biden was called the winner by the Associated Press. You saw these people take to the streets in cities around the country to go celebrate. And magically, COVID was no longer an issue. Isn't it funny how that works? And now, funny enough that we have the Million MAGA March in D.C. this weekend, D.C. Mayor Bowser is trying to enact another lockdown, right? Pay attention, people. Pay attention. The election happened. They said Joe Biden was the winner, and all of a sudden, all of this stuff starts getting lifted. Nobody cares about COVID anymore. You don't see death counts on the news anywhere. Schools were set to reopen, right? You see these huge people out there celebrating what they think is a Biden victory. No word from Politico or CNN or MSNBC or New York Times about it being super spreader events or people being worried about COVID. It was all gone. Then all of a sudden, all these court cases start getting filed. We start seeing these verified cases of voter fraud, and the media says, don't look over here, don't look over here, nothing to see here. And then all of a sudden, all these mayors and governors start trying to clamp down again and pretend like COVID is suddenly an issue again, right? So it was gone for about 2-3 days. All these court cases start getting filed, and now second wave, it's the wave coming, it's deadlier than the first. We need to clamp down even tighter. Just pay attention to what's going on. I'm not going to tell you what to think about that. I just want you to pay attention and understand. But also understand the energy concept of this, and all these people that were celebrating, that they're jubilant, they're very happy right now. Their energy, they are in a high vibrational frequency, right? They are very happy and full of joy, positive energy. They think their person that they were supporting won. They think their side won. We're in a very tribalistic part of our society right now. What happens when those people realize that he didn't win? What happens when the Supreme Court starts overturning a lot of this blatant fraud? States across the country, Pennsylvania especially. If you don't follow Tracy Beans, please do. She's been covering, she had a great election night special, and she's been covering a lot of these different court cases as they're coming up and kind of helping from layman's terms understand. She has legal experience, so she can both understand it from that end and explain it well. But what happens to these people when they start seeing that they were wrong? What happens to that positive energy that's inside of their body, right? Right now they're full of it. They're excited. They're so full of positive energy. They're dancing in the streets. They're coming up together in massive numbers. These people that were too afraid to vote in person a week ago now suddenly have no problem being with 20,000 other people in Central Park in New York City. What happens to all that positive energy? Energy is neither created nor destroyed, right? It just changes form. So what is the media trying to do? Trying to push all this energy, trying to make this side of the equation that we've seen is prone to violence, that we've seen is prone to chaos, that we have seen is prone to trying to bring destruction when they don't get their way. What happens? All of that positive energy is going to change. Again, energy neither created nor destroyed. It's just going to change format. So the same amount of positive energy that's in their body right now, that's in their mind, that's in their soul, that has them happy and dancing in the streets, is going to transfer to anger. And we've seen what happens when a lot of these people get angry. On top of that equation, we have, not every Joe Biden supporter is Antifa or BLM or is a Marxist subversive, right? That's a very, very small group in the country. But they've been trying to gather support. So if you don't know what a low intensity conflict is, right? So a lot of these other really high level intelligence groups that we've been working with are tracking what we're going through right now in our country as a low intensity conflict. So there are a couple of distinct phases in a low intensity conflict, right? So high intensity conflict, that's straight up war, right? That's blue versus red operations. That's World War II. It's the beginning of OIF and OEF where forces were actually fighting each other on the front lines. That's high intensity conflict. Low intensity conflict is what you may have heard of as a proxy war, right? So we actually do that. As a Green Beret, that was my job, right? Green Berets grow beards and long hair because we go to other countries where we want to get rid of dictators or leaders that are not on our side, and we want to do it without American fingerprints, right? So our nation wants regime change, and they don't want it tied back to the United States of America. That's low intensity conflict. That's where we send people there to ensure that a specific reaction takes place, right? You arm, you train, you equip rebel groups that are aligned with what you want, and you let them do it. You help them do it in some cases. Color revolutions, there's these different formats that people have heard a lot lately that I've known about for 15 years because it's what I did in Special Forces. That's what Green Berets are there for, and a lot of other groups, right? But we have a couple of main missions, and unconventional warfare, foreign internal defense are two of the main ones, right? And those are right there on that line. So a lot of these intelligence groups are tracking what we are going through in this country right now as a low-intensity conflict. Phase one of a low-intensity conflict is where the group that wants to take power, take control, bring down the current regime and replace it with their own, they try to gain support, right? And that happens through propaganda. It happens through a lot of different things, but they really don't do outright attacks on most of the populace except for people with dissenting opinions because they're trying to increase their numbers, they're trying to garner support, they're trying to strengthen their own organization. Moving to phase two is when they start actual warfare, right? That's where they actually start attacking the military of the country they're trying to take over, government offices, government buildings. They start actually attacking the current regime because they felt they've gotten to the point where they have enough support and they can move into phase two of the low intensity conflict. And there's a lot of different things that are similar in what they are. Low intensity conflict, color revolution. We see a lot of these things coming together from a small group of different subversive Marxist subversive groups that are all pushing towards the same thing. And now we have an entire populace that might not be a part of that group, but at this moment, they're full of positive energy. They've been propagandized by their media. They've been told that the outcome they were hoping so much for just happened. But it's not true. And so suddenly, you will have this conglomeration of events. You're going to have all these people that are extremely excited, exuberant, again, full of positive energy, and it's going to change like that. It's going to change on a dime when they realize, no, it's not. All that positive energy is going to change just like a chemical reaction very quickly. And that's where we're in the danger zone. Now, having paid attention very, very closely for the last several years during the President Trump's presidency, I think we all know about Big News Friday, at least any of us that have been paying close attention. Big News Friday. That's when a lot of big news, kind of ground-changing, earth-shaking news comes out typically on Friday. We have a lot of things that are in play right now, right? Spygate, Andy McCabe was testifying today, the day that I'm recording this. We know that we have a lot, the Epstein court docs are just uploaded. There's a lot of different things going on. And at the same time, a large part of the population has been propagandized and filled with specific type of energy that's going to change on a dime. And we have a lot of other Marxist subversive groups that are trying to move from phase one to phase two of their low intensity conflict / color revolution. Now, it's my estimate that something's going to come out this Friday or towards the end of this week that's going to be kind of a hallmark indicator for a lot of these people that what they are so happy about right now is not going to be true. This event in DC is on Saturday. So I think it's a very important one that we be cognizant of what it is, and you understand why we're going to send so many people there. Again, since we're going to be there, we're going to coordinate with law enforcement, both federal and local. We will have a substantial amount of people there. We're going to do everything we can to keep this safe. But again, we could really use your support. If you have the ability to donate to our group, again, we provide, we are a military, law enforcement, and intelligence community veterans who provide pro bono intel and security to pro bono to patriotic and religious events. If you can support us, our website is 1apraetorian.com. And again, I please ask that you do, because there's a lot of other equipment that I would like to ensure that this can go as smoothly as possible this weekend. More importantly, I think it's, if you have the ability to be there, that you are. Right? So a lot of us who've been paying attention for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, are pretty tied into what's going on. We do what we can to help. You know, we have the digital soldiers. We have those of us that try to help provide, push truth out to everybody that we can in the country. We try to counteract the propaganda and the narratives, the absolute hoaxes that we see. We do a lot of research. We do a lot of digging to try to figure out, the bottom, where is the lie in this hoax, and disseminate the truth to as many people as we can. A lot of that we've done from our couches, from behind TV screens. We've given money where we can. We've done what we could from afar. I believe we're at the point where it is absolutely critical that people begin to show our numbers. We've talked about the silent majority for a long time, and it's something that, honestly, a lot of people scoff at. Right? There are people on the other side that don't believe that's a real thing, that they don't actually believe we are the silent majority. They believe that we are a small group of crackpots who believe that. Now, if you pay attention to the data, if you actually understand this country, you know that we are a center-right country. You know that the silent majority truly is a large part of this nation. But the time has come to make our presence known. The time has come to stop standing on the sidelines. We need the people that are trying to do this to truly understand the numbers that they are antagonizing, the numbers of people that they are angering, the number of bears that they're poking, right? Because right now they don't have physical confirmation that we really are the silent majority. There are a lot of them that truly don't understand that. They so believe that Joe Biden won because they really don't think there's very many of us. They think conservatives, people who support President Trump, are a minority of the country. The way to disprove that, the way to show them that we actually are the silent majority, is to no longer be silent. If you have the ability to go to DC this weekend and participate in the Million MAGA March, you need to do so. This is the time. There is a time when every man and woman needs to choose a side and needs to give their support, and the time is now. If you have any ability to get there, please do. You know the local government is against us. They will make it as difficult as they possibly can. But again, right now, the time has come to show that we are the majority and we can no longer be silent. If you have the ability, again, please, if you can donate to our crowdfunding links at 1apraetorian.com, we would truly appreciate it. We will be there to do everything we can to keep this event as safe as possible, coordinate with local and federal law enforcement. We'll have our people there in intelligence and surveillance and physical deterrent capacities. We'll be protecting the speakers, the VIPs, the event organizers. We'll be protecting the crowd. We will be tied at the hip, law enforcement. So if we see trouble inbound, we're going to let them know immediately so they can stop it. If anybody tries to start trouble, we will stop it. Again, we're de-escalators first, so we don't try to antagonize. We don't try to start fights, but we try to keep everybody safe. If worse comes to worse, every man and woman in our group has taken the oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We truly believe that. Every one of our group is a volunteer. We all volunteered to step right in the line of fire because we believe in this republic. We believe in supporting the people of this republic, especially those willing to stand up and make their voice and opinions known. And the time has come, each and every one of you, to stand up and make your opinion known. So again, if you have the ability to get to DC, please do. If you have the ability to, and DC this weekend, November 14th, 2020, Saturday, please, you can look that up, Million MAGA March. It's been organized by the same people You can find information at stopthesteal.com. If you have the ability to donate to our group, again, we'll be providing security. We're not charging the event organizers anything. We're crowdfunded. It's our contract between the people of America and our group, men and women who have stood up before to defend the Constitution, men and women who are standing up again to do so. So this is our agreement to you. At first, you used to pay our paychecks when we actually worked in the military, law enforcement, and intel. Your taxes paid our paychecks. Now it's your crowdfunding that's helping us go. We don't take any actual paychecks for it, but it helps pay for our flights, our hotels, our food, our gear, liability insurance, lawyers, all this other stuff that's required to do this appropriately, safely, and the right way. So again, I'm asking you, I got to go, but if you had the ability to support this by being there and showing that the silent majority is no longer silent and truly is the majority, if you have the ability to donate to our crowdfunding links at 1apraetorian.com, most importantly, it's time for each of us to stand up and show what we really think, how much we care about this republic. There is an insurrection that has been going on. Up to this point, they've been allowed to fester for a long time untouched. That's the insurgency. Well, now we have a counterinsurgency, and that's what we are doing when we're linking up with other patriot and intelligence groups around the country to do what we can to ensure that it does not go any further. But be aware, they are trying to. You need to let them know what they are truly up against, the size and scope of the American populace that will not let this stand. And you can take part by showing up in D.C. this weekend at the Million MAGA March. Thank you for your time. God bless America. Deo et Patria, for God and country.